Emily stood at her bedroom window, watching the rain trace paths down the glass. Each drop reminded her of the tears she held back. Jack had moved away 3 months ago, and the house felt empty without his laughter echoing in the halls. Pressed her forehead to the cool window and closed her eyes, wishing she could hear his voice just one more time. Every morning, Emily reached for her phone, hoping to find a message from Jack, but most days the screen stayed dark. They had been best friends since kindergarten, sharing secrets, dreams, and silly inside jokes. Now he lived hundreds of miles away, and even simple talks felt hard. She felt distant from someone she cared about more than anyone. At school, Emily tried to focus on her classes, but her mind kept drifting back to Jack. In math, she doodled his name in the margins. During lunch, she pulled out her phone and stared at old photos of them together, smiling at summer fairs and winter snowball fights. An ache grew in her chest every time she saw those pictures, missed him so much that her heart felt empty. That evening, Emily tried to write to Jack. She opened a new message and typed, "Hey." Then she stopped. What could she say after so long? Would he even want to talk? She deleted the word and started again. "I miss you." But somehow that felt too weak. She wanted more. She wanted hope. She wanted to show Jack that their friendship was still strong. Emily remembered how humans could do amazing things when they worked together. She thought of stories where someone reached out across great distances and built something new. She believed in human spirit, the gift of hope that people carried inside them. If she could find that hope, she could send it to Jack. She sat up straighter and thought, maybe she should create something, not just words. She grabbed her sketchbook and colored pencils. For years, she and Jack had drawn stories side by side. She sketched a small star, then another, until she had drawn a whole galaxy. Stars shone in every corner of the page, and in the center, she wrote, "Our friendship shines across any distance." She felt warmth in her chest as she finished. This was more than a message. It was a gift of hope. The next morning, Emily carefully folded the drawing and slipped it into an envelope. She added a handwritten note. "No matter where you are, I believe in us. Let's talk soon." She sealed it and walked to the postbox. The rain had stopped, and pale sunlight broke through gray clouds. As she dropped the letter into the slot, she whispered, "This is for you, Jack." Later that day, Emily sat at her desk, heart pounding as she waited for a reply. She filled her mind with human stories of connection farmers sending seeds to far lands, travelers writing letters that changed lives, and friends who found new ways to stay close. She believed that people could bridge any gap. That belief gave her courage. When Emily's phone buzzed that evening, she nearly jumped out of her chair. Her hands shook as she opened the message. Jack had replied, "Emily, your drawing is beautiful. I miss you too. Let's video call tomorrow." Tears of joy filled her eyes. She typed back, "Yes, can't wait." Emily stretched out with relief and hope. She realized that humans held hope like a glowing ember inside their hearts. When they felt distant or alone, they could share that ember with others and light their way. Tonight, Emily felt that ember burn bright, knowing that her friendship with Jack had crossed every mile and would shine on. Emily woke up the next morning, feeling a flutter of excitement. Last night's message from Jack still warmed her chest. She spent the day in a light mood, humming as she packed her school bag. Every lock of her hair seemed to shine with new hope. She found herself smiling at strangers in the hallway. Even the old oak tree outside her classroom looked friendlier. Emily felt human strength, the power to keep going, and believe in better days buzzing inside her like electricity. After dinner, Emily set up her laptop on the kitchen table. She cleared away dishes and wiped the surface until it gleamed. Her mother peered from the stove. "Are you ready for your call?" she asked with a gentle smile. Emily nodded and gave a small laugh. "I think so." She tapped the video app icon and saw Jack's name appear on the screen. His face popped up, framed by the window behind him, where afternoon light danced on the walls. Jack waved shyly. His smile was bigger than Emily remembered. "Hey, Em," he said, voice soft. Emily said, "Hey, Jack," her heart singing. The space between them, miles of earth and sky, melted away. "Little nervous?" Emily asked. "How was your day?" Jack told her about his new school, the lunch choices, and the kids who asked him why he talked about Earth so much. Emily nodded and laughed at his jokes. They talked for a long time. Jack shared a drawing he had made, two figures reaching across a gap, hands almost touching. He said, "This reminded me of us." Emily felt tears come to her eyes. She picked up her own sketchbook and held it up. On her screen, Jack saw a picture of two stars shining in a dark sky. She said, "We shine together, no matter the distance." Jack smiled, and his eyes glowed. Emily felt hope flare inside her again. After the call, Emily felt lighter. She placed her sketchbook on her desk and thought about the human spirit, the way people could connect across any gap when they tried. She remembered stories of explorers sending messages by light signals and kind neighbors sharing food across borders. Emily believed that friendship was like a beacon. If two people held that light and shared it, they could guide each other through any darkness. Over the next week, Emily and Jack settled into a routine. Every day after school, they met online. To share small moments, sometimes they showed each other their homework. Other times, they told silly stories from their day. Emily introduced Jack to her cat, Luna, who batted at the screen. Jack laughed so hard he almost dropped his tablet. Emily felt joy bubble inside her. She realized that small shared moments could knit hearts closer than any grand gesture. Afternoon, Jack said, "I want to do something special for you." Emily tilted her head. "Like what?" Jack grinned. "I've been learning video editing. Want to make a short movie of our memories." He showed her clips he had collected. Photos of him eating ice cream, laughing at a carnival, and building a blanket fort. Emily gasped. Tears of happiness slid down her cheeks. "That's amazing," she whispered. She felt proud of what humans could create when they used their skills for love. Emily decided to ask Jack to collaborate on a project. She suggested they make a digital scrapbook together that would collect drawings, photos, and messages in one shared file. Jack agreed eagerly. Over the next few evenings, they designed pages side by side on their screens. Emily drew new pictures of planets and spaceships, while Jack wrote funny captions. Their laughter filled the silence of their separate rooms, and each felt less alone. On the night they finished their scrapbook, Emily and Jack held a special video meeting. They flipped through pages together, pointing and smiling. Reached the last page, Jack said softly, "This is our story." Emily's eyes misted. She said, "Yes, our story shows our hope, shows that even far apart, we stand together." Jack nodded. "That's HFY, humanity for you," he said with a wink.
Bye.
Emily laughed, feeling the bright spark of human hope shine between them. That weekend, Emily mailed Jack a printed copy of their scrapbook. She wrapped it in silver paper and drew little stars all over the package. As she dropped it into the postbox, she felt a surge of pride. She had closed the distance a little more. She had reached out with creativity and care. She had shown human power not in weapons or battles, but in friendship and hope. On Monday, Jack called to say the scrapbook arrived. He held it up to the camera, pages glowing behind him. Emily beamed. She knew their friendship was stronger now than ever. She understood that human hearts could stretch across any sea or mountain. If someone cared enough, they could build bridges with words, art, and laughter. Emily felt hopeful and certain. She and Jack would keep shining, side by side, wherever they were. Emily woke early, sunlight spilling into her room like a promise. The scrapbook she and Jack made lay open on her desk. She traced her finger over the drawings of stars and planets, feeling joy swell in her chest. For a moment, she forgot the miles that separated them. Then she checked the clock and realized she had missed Jack's morning call by an hour. Her heart sank. She had been careful to set an alarm, but she fell asleep reading their favorite book. She stared at the quiet screen, wishing she could rewind time. The scrapbook reminded her that small mistakes still mattered, even in strong friendships. She felt the old ache of distance creeping back. How could she reconnect if she kept messing up? At breakfast, Emily poked at her cereal. Her mother asked if she was all right. Emily forced a smile. I missed Jack's call, she said softly. Her mother patted her hand. You two have done well keeping in touch. Sometimes life gets busy. Maybe find a new way. Okay. Emily nodded but felt the weight of uncertainty. She wanted to show Jack she cared, but she did not know how. After school, Emily walked home under a pale sky. She watched leaves swirl in the breeze and thought of all the ways humans adapted to challenges. If people could cross deserts and build bridges across rivers, then surely she could bridge this small gap. She imagined sending messages by lantern light or making drawings in the sand. That spark of HFY hope lit inside her again. At home, Emily opened her laptop. She stared at the blinking cursor in her message draft. Words failed her. She wanted more than text this time. She needed something Jack could feel, something uniquely hers. Then she remembered how they both loved her grandmother's stories on cassette tapes. A smile grew. She knew what to do. Emily found her old voice recorder. She cleared her throat and spoke into the microphone. Hi, Jack. It's me, Emily. I wanted to share a story like Grandma used to, and this one is for us. She read a short tale about two friends who lived on different islands, but kept each other close by sending painted seashells. She laughed at her own silly accents and wiped away tears when the story turned sweet. When she finished recording, Emily pressed stop and listened. Her own voice filled the room, warm and real. She felt a flood of comfort. This was more than a message, it was her heart in audio form. She attached the voice file to an email and wrote, I hope hearing my voice feels like a hug. Miss you then? She clicked send and waited. The next day, Emily walked to her locker with hope pinching her chest. She imagined Jack listening to her story, smiling at her accents, maybe saying out loud, That's so Em. Text appeared on her phone. Thank you. I love hearing you tell stories. I felt like you were here. Emily stopped and read the words again. Her lips curved into a wide grin. That night, Emily and Jack held another video call. On the screen, Jack held his tablet close and said, Your story made me feel close to home. Emily felt tears of relief and joy fill her eyes. She knew that human hope was not a fleeting thing. It was something they carried inside and shared with each other. They decided on a new plan. Every week, they would exchange a creative gift. Sometimes it would be a story, sometimes a photo collage, sometimes a favorite snack mailed in a care package. Emily loved the idea. It meant they would always have something new to share, a reason to reach out. Over the next few days, Emily gathered materials for her next gift. She painted a small wooden box with bright colors. Inside, she placed pressed flowers, a few candies, and a note, Open when you need a smile. As she worked, she thought about how humans found joy in small acts of kindness. That was true strength, showing you cared even when it seemed hard. On Friday, Emily mailed the box to Jack. She walked to the post office, humming to herself. Even the clerk smiled at her bright mood. Emily felt like she was sending a piece of her hope across the ocean. She believed that these small gestures would keep their friendship alive and strong. That evening, Emily checked her phone constantly. At last, a video message arrived. Jack opened the box on camera, his eyes lighting up at the pressed flowers. He pulled out a flower and held it close. Thank you, he said. This means so much. Emily's heart lifted higher than ever. Before they said goodnight, Jack told Emily, Your Emily woke before dawn, the sky still soft and gray. She felt a flutter in her chest today. She would take a brave step. Jack's move had left her hollow for so long. Their calls and messages helped, but nothing matched sharing the same air and laughter in person. She wanted to see him again, to show that human will and hope could bridge any divide at her kitchen table. Emily spread out a map of the country. Tiny dots marked towns she and Jack had dreamed of visiting together. Now she traced a new route, her town to Jack's city, nearly 500 miles away. She tapped her pencil on the paper, imagining the rolling fields, the small towns, and the big highways. Her heart beat faster. She was going to visit him, but reality crept in. Emily checked her savings jar, held some coins, maybe $20. Bus tickets cost over $50. Her stomach squeezed. She could not do this alone. She closed her eyes and remembered all the stories of human kindness she loved. People helped strangers, lifted each other up. If she showed her idea, maybe her small town would rally behind her. Emily drafted a simple plan. She would hold a weekend bake sale at the community center. She would bake her best chocolate chip cookies. Jack always said they were the sweetest treat, and ask for donations to pay for her trip. She pinned the plan on her bulletin board and wrote in big letters, "Help Emily reunite with Jack." Seeing her words gave her hope and courage. She spent the next days baking. The kitchen smelled of sugar and butter. Her mother helped, measuring flour and cracking eggs. Neighbors heard the warm smells and came by. When Emily told them about Jack and her dream to see him, their eyes lit with kindness. Mrs. Patel from next door said, "Your friendship inspires me. I'll donate." Mr. Torres from down the street added, "Count me in." Emily felt tears of gratitude. Human hearts truly could band together in hope. On Saturday morning, Emily and her mother set up tables in the community hall. Plates stacked high with cookies, muffins, and brownies. A big poster showed Emily's handwritten map and a picture of her and Jack smiling under a rainbow of streamers. People came in waves, families, friends, even strangers. Each person paid what they could. Some left extra just to encourage her. Every coin and bill that went into Emily's jar was a vote of belief in her plan and in her friendship. By midday, Emily peered at the jar nearly half full. She felt joy. Every coin was a spark of human hope lighting the way. She greeted each guest with a shy smile and thanked them. Each warm word lifted her spirits. She told short stories of her adventures with Jack riding bikes in the park building, a treehouse playing stargazing games on summer nights. Listeners laughed and nodded, imagining young friends chasing dreams together. That evening, Emily poured the donations onto her bedroom floor. She counted, her heart pounding. $62, enough for a ticket and a small snack for the journey. She jumped up and down, laughing. Her room felt bright. She hugged her mother, who smiled with proud tears. "You did it," her mother whispered. Emily felt proud of what humans could achieve when they united with hope. The next morning, Emily packed her bag. She tucked in her favorite sweater, her sketchbook, and the scrapbook she and Jack had made. She wrote one last note for Jack. "Here I come." She pinned it to her bag so it would flutter like a banner. At the bus station, the sun rose orange and warm. Emily's ticket in hand, she took a deep breath. The engine rumbled and the bus pulled away. As the town faded behind her, Emily looked out the window. Fields and forests rolled past, but she felt closer to Jack with each mile. Her hands gripped the edge of her seat. She believed in humanity's power, the drive to overcome distance, the spark of hope that ignited every act of kindness. She knew that soon she would see Jack's face light up, and their friendship would shine brighter than ever. Emily woke before dawn, the sky still soft and gray. She felt a flutter in her chest. Today she would take a brave step. Jack's move had left her hollow for so long. Their calls and messages helped, but nothing matched sharing the same air and laughter in person. She wanted to see him again, to show that human will and hope could bridge any divide. At her kitchen table, Emily spread out a map of the country. Tiny dots marked towns she and Jack had dreamed of visiting together. She traced a new route, her town to Jack's city, nearly 500 miles away. She tapped her pencil on the paper, imagining the rolling fields, the small towns, and the big highways. Her heart beat faster. She was going to visit him, but reality crept in. Emily checked her savings jar. It held some coins, maybe $20. Bus tickets cost over $50. Her stomach squeezed. She could not do this alone. She closed her eyes and remembered all the stories of human kindness she loved. People helped strangers, lifted each other up. If she showed her idea, maybe her small town would rally behind her. Emily drafted a simple plan. She would hold a weekend bake sale at the community center. She would bake her best chocolate chip cookies. Jack always said they were the sweetest treat and asked for donations to pay for her trip. She pinned the plan on her bulletin board and wrote in big letters, "Help Emily reunite with Jack." Seeing her words gave her hope and courage. She spent the next days baking. The kitchen smelled of sugar and butter. Her mother helped, measuring flour and cracking eggs. Neighbors heard the warm smells and came by. When Emily told them about Jack and her dream to see him, their eyes lit with kindness. Mrs. Patel from next door said, "Your friendship inspires me." "I'll donate," Mr. Torres from down the street added. "Count me in." Emily felt tears of gratitude. Human hearts truly could band together in hope. On Saturday morning, Emily and her mother set up tables in the community hall, plates stacked high with cookies, muffins, and brownies. A big poster showed Emily's handwritten map and a picture of her and Jack smiling under a rainbow of streamers. People came in waves, families, friends, even strangers. Each person paid what they could. Some left extra just to encourage her. Every coin and bill that went into Emily's jar was a vote of belief in her plan and in her friendship. By midday, Emily peered at the jar, nearly half full. She felt joy. Every coin was a spark of human hope lighting the way. She greeted each guest with a shy smile and thanked them. Each warm word lifted her spirits. She told short stories of her adventures with Jack riding bikes in the park, building a treehouse, playing stargazing games on summer nights. Listeners laughed and nodded, imagining young friends chasing dreams together. That evening, Emily poured the donations onto her bedroom floor. She counted, her heart pounding. $62, enough for a ticket and a small snack for the journey. She jumped up and down, laughing. Her room felt bright. She hugged her mother, who smiled with proud tears. "You did it," her mother whispered. Emily felt proud of what humans could achieve when they united with hope. The next morning, Emily packed her bag. She tucked in her favorite sweater, her sketchbook, and the scrapbook she and Jack had made. She wrote one last note for Jack. "Here I come." She pinned it to her bag so it would flutter like a banner. At the bus station, the sun rose orange and warm. Emily's ticket in hand, she took a deep breath. The engine rumbled, and the bus pulled away. As the town faded behind her, Emily looked out the window. Fields and forests rolled past, but she felt closer to Jack with each mile. Her hands gripped the edge of her seat. She believed in humanity's power, the drive to overcome distance, the spark of hope that ignited every act of kindness. She knew that soon she would see Jack's face light up, and their friendship would shine brighter than ever. Emily woke early again, drawn by the soft light slipping through Jack's curtains. She lay still for a moment, listening to the quiet hum of the city beyond the window. Today, she and Jack had planned to visit the old observatory on the hill. Emily remembered how, as children, they had dreamed of touching the stars. Now, standing together under the same sky, they would chase that dream once more. Over breakfast, Jack poured orange juice into 2 glasses. Emily smiled as she picked up a slice of toast. They sat at the small kitchen table, the morning sun shining on Jack's photos of family and friends. Jack said, "I'm glad you're here." Emily felt her chest warm. "Me too," she replied, meeting his eyes. She thought of all the miles she had crossed, the bake sale, and the bus ride. Each step had been powered by hope. After they ate, Jack grabbed 2 warm jackets. "The hill can be cold," he warned. Emily nodded and slipped her arms into the sleeves. Together, they stepped out into the fresh air. The streets were quiet at this hour, and the dew on the grass sparkled like tiny jewels. Emily reached out and touched a blade of grass, feeling the cool drops on her fingers. She thought of human care, the small acts that made the world feel gentle. The climb to the observatory was steep. Emily's legs burned, and her breath came. In soft sighs, Jack walked beside her, steady and encouraging. "You can do it," he said. Emily nodded, gripping the railing. She remembered how humans could push their bodies and their hearts when something mattered. She pressed on, feeling the strength in every step. At last they reached the top. The old observatory stood silent, its dome closed for the morning. Jack found a side door and rapped lightly. An elderly man in a tweed coat opened it, smiled at Jack and greeted Emily. "Welcome," he said kindly. "I hear you two love the stars." Emily felt shy but nodded. The man led them inside. Inside, the dome was filled with dusty chairs and old star charts. A large telescope pointed up. Through a narrow opening overhead, the man showed them how to work the levers and wheels. Jack and Emily took turns peeking through the lens. At first, the view was blurred, but the man guided them. When the moon came into focus, its craters shone like valleys of silver. Emily gasped. "It's so beautiful," she whispered. Jack squeezed her hand. "I know," he said softly. Emily thought about human curiosity, the drive to learn, to explore, and to share. In that moment, she felt connected not only to Jack, but to every person who had ever looked at the sky in wonder. They spent the morning exploring the constellations. Jack pointed out Orion's belt and the Pleiades cluster. Emily sketched their shapes in her notebook. The old man told stories of astronomers who risked everything to map the heavens. Emily listened, heart full. These stories showed her how humans never gave up, no matter the challenge. They reached for the stars, literally and in spirit. When the sun climbed high, the old man closed the dome.
"Oh, you two have bright hearts,"
he said as he shook their hands. Emily felt proud. She and Jack had come so far from feeling distant to standing side by side under the same stars. She carried that feeling with her like a glowing ember. On the walk back down the hill, Emily and Jack planned future visits. They talked about building a small telescope of their own one day. Jack said, "We can learn together and share what we see." Emily's face lit up. "Yes," she said. "And we can send sketches and photos to friends in other places. Can all look up together." She pictured classrooms in both their towns. Students pointing at the moon through homemade lenses. Back in the cafe where they had first met, Emily and Jack paused for hot chocolate. Steam curled around their mugs. Emily looked at Jack and said, "Today showed me that humans can reach out, even when things feel far away. We can find ways to connect, to explore, and to learn together." Jack smiled and raised his mug. "Here's to that," he said, and they clinked glasses. That night, Emily lay in the guest bed, the city lights twinkling outside her window. She thought of the observatory, the old man's kind smile, and the craters of the moon shining through the telescope. She felt hope settle in her heart like a new star. She knew that no matter where she or Jack lived, their friendship would guide them. Distance could never dull the light of human spirit. Before sleep carried her away, Emily whispered into the darkness, "Thank you, humanity. Thank you for hope." And with that, she dreamed of distant galaxies, knowing she and Jack would chase them together, hand in hand, shining brighter than any star. Emily woke to the soft hum of city traffic below Jack's window. Today was her last full day before she returned home. A gentle sadness crept into her chest. She did not want to say goodbye again, yet she carried hope inside her, like a small flame that refused to go out. She rose quietly, dressed in warm clothes, and met Jack in the kitchen. Over breakfast, Jack slid a homemade pastry across the table. Emily's eyes lit up. "You remembered my favorite," she said. Jack smiled. Of course, humans remember small things that matter. Emily felt warmth. She thought of human care, the way people showed love through simple acts. She lifted the pastry and took a bite, savoring its sweet warmth. In that moment, she felt connected to Jack and to everyone who reached out with kindness. After they ate, Jack led Emily to a local park where a weekend art fair was underway. Stalls lined the path, each selling paintings, crafts, and homemade treats. Emily gasped at the colors and the bustle of families, friends, and neighbors. Jack said, "This is my favorite place in the city. It shows how people share their creativity." Emily nodded. She loved seeing humans express themselves with art. It showed strength and hope in every brushstroke and stitch. They walked among the booths. An artist painting tiny watercolors offered Emily a small landscape of a field at sunrise. "For you," the artist said kindly. Emily accepted with gratitude. She thought of gifting it to Jack's family later. Next, they tried lemonade made with fresh mint. Each sip felt like summer sunshine. Emily laughed when the vendor topped her cup with a candy straw. She realized how many small moments made life bright. A little further on, they found a storyteller sitting under a big oak tree. A group of children sat around her, listening to tales of distant worlds and brave travelers. Jack tugged Emily's hand. They sat together on the grass. The storyteller's voice wove images of hope, the power of friendship across oceans, and the courage to chase dreams. Emily's heart thumped. She remembered their scrapbook, their drawings of stars. She felt the same spark of hope glowing inside her. After the story ended, Emily and Jack joined a booth where volunteers invited people to write letters to new neighbors in the city. Jack suggested they write letters to each other, promising future visits and shared projects. Emily agreed. She wrote, "Dear Jack, no matter where we are, I carry our memories like stars in my pocket. I promise to visit again soon. Yours always, Emily." Jack wrote back, "Dear Emily, your friendship lights my days. I will keep our spark alive. Love, Jack." They folded the letters and sealed them with a smile as the fair wound down. Emily felt tired but happy. Jack guided her back to the bus. Stationed along the way, they picked wildflowers growing at the roadside. Emily tied them into a small bouquet. "For your home," Jack said. "So you remember this visit." Emily held the flowers carefully. She knew that humans could carry pieces of each place they loved, like seeds of hope in their hearts. At the station, the sky turned pink. Emily's bus would arrive soon. She hugged Jack tightly. He whispered, "This is not goodbye. It is see you later." Emily felt tears slip down her cheeks. She nodded. She believed his words. She believed in human promise, the vow to return, and to keep hope alive through every mile. When the bus rumbled in, Emily climbed aboard with her backpack, her sketchbook, her scrapbook, and the wildflowers wrapped in paper. Jack stood on the platform, waving until the doors closed. Emily pressed her hand to the glass, and Jack did the same on the other side. In that moment, she felt the distance shrink. She carried his warmth and belief like a shield against loneliness. The bus pulled away, and Emily watched the city fade into trees and fields. She opened her sketchbook and drew two figures reaching toward one another, hands almost touching. Around them she sketched stars and flowers. Under the drawing she wrote, "Hope lives when hearts stay open." She smiled, closing the book. Even though the road stretched on, she knew that the light of human spirit of connection and hope would guide her back to Jack. That night, Emily lay in her own bed, the city lights of her town outside her window. She held the wildflowers and read Jack's letter again. She whispered into the darkness, "I will see you soon." And she drifted to sleep, her heart full of hope. Certain that no distance could dim the spark of their friendship, Emily woke to a soft breeze slipping through her open window. The wildflowers Jack had given her lay on her desk, still bright and fragrant. She smiled as she remembered their time together. Even though Jack was far away now, she felt closer to him than ever. The trip had shown her how people could reach across distances with hope and care. Today, she decided, she would find another way to keep their friendship alive. After breakfast, Emily turned on her computer. She opened the scrapbook they had made and scanned the pages. Photos of their laughter, drawings of stars, and their handwritten letters glowed on her screen. Emily thought, if I can share this with others, maybe our story will help someone else who feels alone. She clicked New Project and started a simple website called Stars of Friendship. There she planned to post their memories, photos, and new messages. Emily spent the morning writing the first page. She told the story of how Jack moved away and how sad she felt. She wrote about the bake sale, the bus ride, the observatory visit, and the art fair. She wrote about how human hope carries people through hard times. As she typed, Emily's heart swelled. She felt proud of what humans could do when they combined creativity and compassion. She added a photo of the two stars they had drawn and titled it Hope Shines Bright. Next, Emily created a space for messages. She added a simple box that said, "Share your story," or send a note to Jack and Emily. She remembered how a small note from Jack had made her day. Now she hoped to inspire others. She clicked Publish and took a deep breath. The single click, their story went online. Emily felt a thrill. She believed that people from all over could read their truth and feel less alone. That afternoon, Emily told her classmates about the website. They gathered around her laptop in the school library. Some smiled, some nodded, and a few even typed messages to Jack and Emily. One friend wrote, "My cousin moved away. I miss her every day." Another wrote, "Thank you for sharing. Your hope inspires me." Emily felt tears of joy. She saw that human connection could spread far beyond a single friendship. Each message was a spark of hope lighting a larger fire. That evening, Emily video called Jack. Her heart leaped when his face appeared on the screen. "I saw your website, Jack," said, eyes shining. "It's beautiful." Emily blushed. "I wanted to keep our friendship alive and share hope with others." Jack nodded. "You did that? People care." Emily showed him the messages from classmates and a few strangers. Jack smiled wide. Humans help each other, even online. You made a place for that. Emily felt proud. She knew that their simple acts had grown into something meaningful. Over the next week, Emily and Jack added new content together. Jack wrote a short story about two friends building a paper rocket. Emily drew a picture of them launching it. Under a painted sunset, they posted an audio clip of their laughter from the cafe. Each new addition felt like a fresh bridge between their worlds. Emily thought of how humans could use tools like computers and phones to connect hearts. She felt amazed and hopeful. One morning, Emily opened her email to find a message from a teacher in another town. He wrote, "Your website moved our class. We will share our own stories of friendship." "Thank you." Emily's eyes widened. She forwarded the message to Jack. Together, they planned to feature these new stories on Stars of Friendship. Emily realized that their friendship could spark kindness everywhere. She felt proud of human spirit, how it could turn sadness into connection and hope. On the day before school ended, Emily invited Jack to join her class online. She set up a video call so her classmates could meet him. Jack waved and said hello. The students asked questions about his new city, his favorite memories with Emily, and what kept him hopeful. Jack answered with warmth. Emily's heart burned bright with joy. She believed that humans carried hope like seeds, planting them wherever they went. That night, Emily closed her sketchbook and looked at the stars through her window. She thought of Jack under the same sky, looking up at constellations they once named together. She felt their bond stronger than before. Even though miles lay between them, they had built new ways to share hope. Emily whispered into the night, "No distance can dim our light," and she dreamed of all the friends they had yet to reach. Certain that humanity's power to connect and to hope would guide every step ahead.